Welcome to the Sales Lab.
If you're asking for like what a day in the life of the technical salesperson is at Daily, it varies depending on where the need is. So we have a loose guide for each of our regions. So Daily's divided up into Western and Eastern Hemisphere. Just to do a microcosm to focus on one specific region. So we'll do the Houston Ship Channel, right here in our backyard. Our salesperson that has the Houston Ship Channel region has key accounts, right? There's hundreds of chemical plants. We've got maybe 40 or so that are identified as, hey, these are ones where we want to establish them as like daily flagship plants. So we'll give them kind of a loose guideline of a monthly plan for these are accounts that we want to make cold calls at. These are accounts we want to be involved at. These are accounts where we have active projects at. But each of our salespeople, they have a true sense of their territory as their small business, or their ability to grow is totally dependent on their sense of ownership, their sense of drive to kind of go out there and make those calls and facilitate interactions with the customer. So each day kind of varies, right? You can have things where we have customers where we're doing a lot of work, and you roll up there in the morning and you meet with some of their control systems engineers to walk through all their cubicles and say, hey, what projects do you have coming up? Hey, that order that we helped you out with last weekend, how's that working? The thing we did for you earlier this morning, how's that working? I heard you had a failure of this unit, whatever the case may be. We're starting to plan for projects for 2025, 2026. You already kind of have that familiar relationship with them. But then we have other accounts where, they're totally green, and we have to figure out, okay, well, what's the best way to break into that particular account? And that's where saying, well, we know it is an epoxy plant, right? So we know what that type of unit's going to do. Let's try to figure out what that licensor, the technology provider for that plant, what they specify for temperature instrumentation. And then we have a little more information, a little more working knowledge. So when we make a cold call to that plant, it's not just, hey, I'm Joe from Daily. Can I come by and bring some donuts? It's, hey, I know that your plant is this license. So like this technology provider, for context, a licensor is like, if you think about a phone, Apple is a licensor, Android's a licensor. They're both phones, but they have different kind of nuances, right? The same thing for the oil and gas space. There are a lot of ways to make gasoline, right? Different licensors have different unique tweaks, right, that facilitate that process.
Okay.
Just for some context. So that way, maybe the salesperson then has to think about a creative way to break into that particular account. They do some cold calls. Maybe they find some folks on LinkedIn and they're literally calling the 1-800 line for the plant saying, hey, can I speak to so-and-so? They say, hey, I found you. I want to talk to you about something really specific instead of just like a generic, hey, I'm your sales guy rep. And then there are also opportunities where in the day in the life where a customer calls you and it's 4:30 on a Friday and they're saying, hey, we had an issue at the plant. We need somebody from Daily out here to help us troubleshoot this particular situation. We don't know what we're doing. Can you have someone come out here? And the salesperson is the one that's fielding that phone call. And if they want to make the sale, they say, I can be out there. So all of our salespeople also have the safety training, the necessary safety equipment, hard hat, steel toe boots, FRCs, and then the confidence through our training program to go out and to look at any sort of process unit with the customer and provide that confident technical advice at any time of day. I mean, I've driven out to plants at 3 a.m. where they call me during night shift and said, hey, how quickly could you be here? I was like, well, Port Arthur's 2 hours away. I can be there at 6. And then I've had folks FaceTime me when they're in a big unit and they're like, I'm looking at this thing. What do you want me to do? Right. And so the salesperson, for a day in the life of what it's like, it totally varies. It is all geared towards customer service and making a sale. You have to really look at each account and like doing your research. And that's where the team comes in with the RM or the regional manager and giving them a little background saying, hey, we're really strong at that account. We're not really strong at this account. Let's figure out how to bring both up. Right.
Sure.
It's not like where we give you a cold call list and we say, make 500 calls this month. We're going to check your quote at the end of the day. It's totally varied by the territory, by the day, and by really like what the market conditions are and what's going on inside your territory in terms of projects and outages and things like that.